Okay, so that's it. We got any questions? Think of anything you want to talk about?
You had running and vaulting in those phases.
Competition or preparation?
Preparation.
Yep.
But is the vaulting, so you've got like 3s, 2s, 3s, etc.
1, 2, 3, 2, 1, yeah.
I mean, that's pretty hard work.
It's the day before.
Yeah.
Yep. So it's a morning. So do gymnastics. We do gymnastics from 9 till 10:30. We do this from 10:30 to 11. It's tempo, not flat out. So it's 15 seconds for 100 meters. So if you get tired doing that, then you're not in very good shape. 30 seconds for 200 meters, reasonably easy. 45 seconds for 300 meters, a little bit more testing, and then it goes down. So we do this in prep 1. In prep 2, we do 5 times 200. And then in prep 3, we do 5 times 150. So and we're running with pole vault technique. Yep. So it's difficult because you have to try and get the balance between fitting conditioning and technical work together. If you're always tapered and you're only tapered to jump or fresh to jump, then you never get a chance to improve your physical as well.
I mean, it's just it's hard to jump afterwards. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
You've got to do some work.
Yeah, but you have to remember, I'm a professional coach working with full-time athletes trying to produce world-class performances. And I'm coaching guys that you're trying to compete against. We're in the optimum environment. You are in a compromised environment because you don't have an indoor training facility, you don't have a full-time coach, and you don't have full-time athletes. But I'm sorry.
So what's the pole vaulting would it be?
So in preparation.
8 step.
In preparation 1, we normally work up to about 8 steps. Preparation 2, up to about 12 steps. Preparation 3, up to about 16. So volume and intensity need to be matched. Volume is high, intensity is low. As volume reduces, intensity increases. So those two things need to match up all the time. If I'm trying to jump from 16 steps here, while I've got high volume, it's not going to happen. Yep, so it's that art of blending volume and intensity which is key.
And the running, you generally not going further than 300 metres?
No. We start with longer, 3 times 1K.
Okay.
Yep, so we start with 3,000 metres of volume in the first week, and we finish 3 times 1K, and we finish with 10 times 100. So we start with 3,000 metres, and we go down to 1,000 metres. We start at about 4 or 5 metres per second, and we finish at about 10 metres per second. So that whole volume decreasing, intensity increasing. Yeah.
What's the recovery on the 1K, Steve?
15 minutes. Yeah. Yeah, longer. So we go 1K, 800, 600, 400 work down. Yeah. Yeah. It's important to be aerobically fit to be a pole vaulter. Even though you only run 40 metres, pole vault competitions last for over 3 hours. Volume of training is extremely important. So aerobic fitness is really important for pole vaulters, you know. There's no world-class pole vaulters who aren't aerobically fit.
Thanks, Steve. My squad can't get over the 600s that you start to speak to me.
There you go.
That's why I asked.
I know.
Yes.
For those not up to this level of being full-time,
Yep.
where would you suggest they start as an average sort of thing?
Oh, well, so normally people train in the afternoon, so you talk 5 afternoons a week. So you'd probably do something like pole vault, gymnastics, pole vault, weight training, some hill running, weight training. You know, you think about the core units you need to fit in. You need to do weight training twice in a week to get any adaptation. If you only do it once a week, you get sore, recover, get sore, recover. So you need to do it twice a week to get the stimulus to get adaptation. So you think about, you've got to fit those 2 units in to your weekly program. You want to try to pole vault technically twice a week. So you want to fit those in days around where you've not been fatigued the day before from conditioning training. And what you try to do then is you probably, if you have limited number of days, then you might pole vault. Then after pole vault, you might do some conditioning and then some running. So you try to fit maybe 3 units into that one training session. Yep. But you don't try and do all of that in less sessions, you know. So you have to draw some compromise somewhere because you always want to operate below that injury threshold.
And the gymnastics?
Sorry? Yeah, 1 gymnastics a week I think is good, but you have to work out what you've got time for and how you can fit it in, you know, This is the optimum blend that I've managed to come up with But that's because I'm working in the optimum environment. If you're not working in the optimum environment, then you have to adjust for that, you know. Yeah. But there's many ways of doing this, like I said before, you know. There's no one way.
Can we go back and have a look at your competition phase?
Sure. So the key is about trying to maintain physical fitness during the competition period. If you only have 3 or 4 week competition period, then you don't have to worry about it too much. If you're trying to compete for 12 weeks, you know, then you have to really work on conditioning all the time. So we do set exercises even after competition time. The guys will spend 15 to 30 minutes doing some condition exercises. We do feet, we do calves, we'll do lower back, we'll do some stuff for posterior chain, but we just keep that kind of things going all the time. We don't put the poles away and then go home. You know, that's
If the cop's gone crack, it's really hard to get them to do anything.
you know, it's even more reason to get him to do
I
it.
know, but I'm just saying.
Yes, Maddie.
What was
Activation session.
Yes.
This one here, it's activation session, so we warm up and then we'll do some light weight lifting. So we might do clean and jerk, really lightweight, one set of snatch, lightweight, one set of bench, one set of squat jumps, one set of pullovers, 2 sets of abs, 2 sets of back, and then we'll do some pole vault run up. So if you're going to compete off 16 or 14 steps, we just do some pole vault run up, 3 or 4, cool down, and then that's it. So it's about firing up the day before you compete. So if we don't have a gym, for instance, I've done this many times in a hotel hallway where the athletes go do squat jumps and I'll put my hand on their shoulders. You can't do bench press, so we'll do clap push-ups. So it's just about modifying that, but it's about sparking up. And if you've been traveling, like you talk about, you know, normally in Europe, travels between 9 and 12 hours a day. You know, we don't have short travels in Europe either. Even if, when I was going from Loughborough to Germany, you've got to allow 5 hours to get to Heathrow, then you're going to fly 2 hours, then you've got to travel the other end. It's important to still do this after you arrive. Ideally, you'd activate at the time you're going to compete in an ideal world.
And with the practice runs for activation, are they in spikes like you would be running down the road for comp, or are they just in flats?
We tend to do them in flats at somewhere about 60 to 70%. I'm not going to try and do it at 100%. It's more for feeling, rhythm, that kind of, rather than, really pushing. I don't want to get any muscular damage or any breakdown as I'm building up for the next day. So I'm not going to do anything over speed or maximum. It's going to be 60, 70%. You know, the guys, when they snatch one set of 3, most of the stuff we're doing is like at 40 kilos, you know. It's just light, bang, you know, just to get the feeling of moving something, get a little bit of tension in the muscle. Yeah, and we would generally do it in trainers rather than in spikes, you know. And we might do it with a pole, we might do it without a pole. Yeah.
Steve, jumping back a little bit to the technical model.
Yep.
And talking about the bottom arm.
Yep.
Obviously guys are generally much stronger than girls and they're able to sort of push up much easier and get that sort of stretch reflex action.
Yep.
Found it much harder to get girls to get in that position. They've usually let that arm come in. How important is it to get girls to jump the same way as guys, or is it just the most important thing to allow it to come in and always come back out?
Yep, good question. And it's funny, you know, when girls first started jumping, then everyone was thinking, do we get girls to jump like boys? Do we get girls to have their own technical model? Do we, can same coaches coach girls and coach boys? You know, there was lots of questions. And it's fun, to be honest with you, I teach girls exactly the same way as I teach boys. But it's obviously the technical model is the same, but their ability to do the technical model is then dependent on their physical ability. You know, because they're obviously not as fast, not as strong, they have slightly different center of mass, you know, so these kind of things taken to consideration. But to answer your question, it's important that you get chest inside. If you don't get chest inside, then you can't swing. If you really need to try and bend the pole and be much stronger with this hand, you have to use a narrower grip. Because if you've got a narrow grip, you can get chest inside. If you have wider grip, then it's impossible to get your chest inside and be strong with that hand. The problem is this big question about how do you get somebody to bend the pole, or how do you get someone to teach the pole? And most of the problems I have is when I take over a pole vaulter. I work with the Finnish national junior squad. these kids have all been fixated with how to bend a pole. So they'll all come in and they'll go bang like this because they want the pole to bend. And to try and get them to then do this and then this is incredibly hard, you know, but they end up going bang and their hips are underneath and then they can't swing. And you have to try to teach them the benefits of swinging and how swinging will improve their jump long term. The problem is you go backwards a little bit before you go forwards because you can't grip as high, you can't use as stiff as pole. But does that answer your question? So I don't really change the technique for girls and boys. If girls are collapsing all the time, I think it's more to do with feeling, and I try to work more on teaching girls to recover, and as they learn to recover, then they learn to then use that hand. I never teach them to stop with that hand. I'll always talk to them about hitting back as they're going to rock back. Yeah, and then that then gets that feeling of catching the pole. But talk also about catching the pole with two hands. You know, you don't want to catch the pole with one hand because otherwise then you go like that. You want to catch the pole with two hands, and this needs to be controlled, and then you come back. So it's about getting chest stretch here. And we do a lot of exercises for flexibility in the shoulders as well, because if somebody's got very stiff shoulders, then it's hard to get their chest inside. If they've got flexibility like that, then you're just fighting, you know. But you have to really make sure that people have got good thoracic flexibility and shoulder flexibility. So you have to do a variety of exercises for that as well. If you've got tight pecs, then you can't have flexible shoulders. Yep.
It's pretty hard to, most girls can't do the right hand side. If they do, they often collapse the bottom arm.
This or this?
Yeah, and if they might take off out there sometimes, like, I won't mention any names, but they'll take off that way, collapse, and they'll just compress the pole, and then it's chasing the other straightening pole. They can't get back.
See, I don't think it is hard to do. I mean, Eliza here is doing it great, you know, and she's using 15'6" poles.
Depends how far out you're taking off. If you're taking off,
if you're taking off inside, then your hips are under your shoulders, then you've got a problem. You can't swing. If I'm on a high bar, and then you tell someone to swing from that position, you can't do it. If you put someone back here, and then you tell them to swing, then they have to do it. So it's action and reaction. So if somebody's...
as long as you don't get into there,
Yep.
and just compress the pole.
You never want to be pulling down the shaft of the pole. You always want to be hitting up to the pole to rotate this pendulum.
Most of the girls do the left-hand side. Last year, because Alana was taking off so close, I went through the whole thing. The top 16 girls, 8 of them took off. This girl's the worst.
Yeah, how much
8 of them take off.
Oh, Hamachkova's retired now. You're thinking of Yurina. Yurina looks very similar.
Okay.
Yeah, Hamachkova, but they come from the same technical group. Yeah.
And half of them are taken off with a huge bend in the pole and still on the ground.
Yeah, but I would say Sidorova doesn't. Zuk Kragnova doesn't do it. Help me, Jeremy, with other girls that jumped in Prague. Nicoletta takes off quite far out, you know. But there's many different ways of doing it. Now, it's important that you don't just look at the group of girls and who does one way the most. You try to work out which makes the most biomechanical sense and which is the model that you want to follow.
Well, it's that way and this way, and then all the other ways on the back page of the book.
Yeah.
Where everybody lays their own ability over the model.
Yeah, sure. You know, this guy, I have ultimate respect for this coach. He is a fantastic coach. We have different opinion on how to pole vault. This guy has coached multiple medalists at World Championship, Olympic, European level. Unbelievable number. And he doesn't work with a lot of very talented pole vaulters. And he gets unbelievable results. He will stand here and swear black and blue in the face that this is the only way to jump and this doesn't work. I'm saying to you, there's many ways to jump. This way makes the most sense to me, and I explained the reasons why. But if you want to jump this way, fantastic. And if you get results, even better. But I would recommend that you use this for all of the reasons that I talked about. But I like I said before, it's not religion. It's not Catholic, Jews, Muslim, whatever. I don't go to war or kill people over it. There is other people in Australia who fanatically believe in one model and not another model. But I'm comfortable enough in my own coaching ability that I respect other people's opinion, and that there's other ways to do this, but this just works for me.
Looking at that photo on the left as a still image and knowing what we know as most of us sort of follow the model in
Yep.
Australia, that photo on the left, without seeing a video of it, I'd almost assume she's going to end up back down the other end of the runway.
Yeah.
Flat foot on the ground, big bend in the pole. Like, there's no way she's going to get in.
Yep. Yeah, but she doesn't. Yeah, she does. She beat Firfanova. This is the World Indoor Championships, and she beat Firfanova. Yeah. It's incredible. And Flavio Telly, there's many guys. Dossa V is even more extreme technique than this. And the French guys have come further out on their technique since Renault's been jumping. You know, Menil at the end of his career, his foot came out maybe 30 centimetres. But I have another photo the same as this with Menil and Markov from World Championships in Edmonton 2001. And Menil's bang like this, and Markov's coming up. But Menil and the French guys have watched Renault and the way that he's able to move the pole, and they have come out, I believe, in the last 10 years. You know, I don't know if you think so or not, but it's the Dossa V extreme. Who's the other guy I was thinking of? There's one guy even worse than him. Policeman from Bordeaux.
From Bordeaux?
Yeah, policeman. Trains with Georges Martin. He's retired now, but he was even more extreme.
Fortin? Fabrice?
Maybe Fabrice was one, but there's another guy. I'll remember. Sorry, Diaz. Yeah, Stefan Diaz. But he'd come in and he'd go bang, and you just even know how the hell he got the pole in the box. I've actually seen someone take off so close that they've done a back somersault because they couldn't get their foot down close enough, you know, quick enough. But yeah, it happens. Yeah, but